Friends, up till now we discussed about that in an alternating circuit, how the inductor would behave. We studied this that if the EMF is given by E equals to E naught sin omega t, then the current is given by I equals to I naught sin omega t minus pi by 2. What does it mean? It means that the current is lagging behind the EMF by angle pi by 2. Let us try to understand that what does it mean. When we say that the expression for EMF is E equals to E naught sin omega t minus pi by 2, E is equals to E naught sin omega t, and expression for current was I equals to I naught sin omega t minus pi by 2. So it is obvious that the EMF is actually leading, or the current is lagging behind the EMF by angle pi by 2. Okay, so let us try to understand that how can we represent this in form of phasor diagram and also in form of the graph. So that we are going to discuss now. When we say that current is lagging behind the EMF, then you have to understand this, that suppose we plot a graph like we plotted earlier also. Here E and I both are on, we are plotting on this y-axis, and on this axis it is omega t. Okay, so let us first plot the EMF, because that is a simple sine curve. So when we plot the EMF first, so the EMF it goes like this. Okay, and as far as the current is concerned, it is obvious that current is lagging behind the EMF by pi by 2. What does it mean? It means that the current will gain these values what EMF is getting now after the pi by 2 angle, or you can say, let's suppose that at this particular angle we are talking about, then at this particular point the value of EMF would be that value, which value of current would be that value which EMF got pi by 2 angle earlier. So pi by 2 angle earlier, value of EMF would be like this. See, EMF is having the minimum value here, correct or not? Like it had here. So current is having this minimum value, but it is having at this point, because it is lagging behind the EMF by pi by 2. So that's why the value of current at this point would be here. And one more thing you have to understand is that because EMF, the maximum value of EMF is this is the peak value of EMF, and it is given by E naught. So this is the value E naught. Okay, but I naught would be definitely somewhat lesser than E naught, because in case of inductor we know that I naught is equal to E naught upon XL, where XL is omega L. Okay, and that is called inductive reactance. So that's why this is I naught, and now it starts you say increasing. It goes here up to here. So when the value of EMF is this, at that time the value of current is this. After that, it increases and becomes maximum at this point, where you see that the value of EMF is 0. Okay, and pi by 2 angle earlier value of EMF was maximum, and you can see that the current is getting maximum value now. It means current is at each and every point, current is actually lagging behind the EMF by pi by 2 angle. Okay, so like this it goes, then here its value is like this, and then at last its value is this. Okay, so this is how you can represent the E and I graph. Now this was just for the reference we plotted. This we don't need to plot again. So you can see here that the EMF and current, they are actually their relation is like this, and the graphically we can represent them like this. Okay. Now let us plot the phasor diagram for this. When we plot phasor diagram for this, let us plot phasor for this. When we plot phasor diagram for this, now see, in phasor, as I told you, that straight line, it shows the it gives us the idea about the phasor of that particular variable. So EMF is here. This is the EMF, and this is E, and this is the peak value of EMF, that is E naught. Okay, and this angle is actually omega t. As we know, E is equals to E naught sin omega t. Now, as far as the current is concerned, current is lagging behind the EMF. So, behind means this side. So, by convention, it is this side. So, that's why the current is here. This is the current I, and this is I naught. This is I naught. So, current is lagging behind the EMF, by angle pi by 2. Okay, so this is how you can represent the variation of EMF and current when only inductor is there in the circuit. Okay, let us discuss the next case, and in the next case, what is there? We have a capacitor. There is only a capacitor connected in an AC circuit, and when we have only a capacitor connected in an AC circuit, how does this capacitor, going to vary the EMF and the current? That's what we are going to discuss. So let us try to understand that. So when only a capacitor is connected, so the circuit would look like this. This is how only a capacitor is connected here. This is the alternating EMF source, and this is the capacitor. Now let us consider that the EMF, alternating EMF, is given by E is equals to E naught sin omega t. This is equation number 1. Okay, now you know this, that as the EMF will vary, because this EMF is actually the alternating EMF, and because it is the alternating EMF, what happens that it actually changes in magnitude as well as in direction. So this will also change in magnitude as well as in direction. So this is what we have, E equals to E naught sin omega t. Now you know this thing, that as the EMF will vary, as the value of the EMF will vary, similarly the potential difference across the plates of the capacitor will also vary. So there will be change in the plates, change in the potential difference across the plates of the capacitor, and every time what will happen, that as the EMF will vary, alternating EMF will vary, there will be change in the potential difference. So that's why we can write that V is equals to E for the capacitor, where V is the potential difference across the plates of capacitor, potential difference across the plates of capacitor, and E is the applied alternating EMF. Okay. Now let us try to understand this. We know this, that across the ends of the capacitor, if we can write that Q is equals to CV. Okay. Now this is anywhere in between when the capacitor is charged. At that time, you can write that Q is equals to CV. Okay, the charge is equals to capacitance into potential difference. Okay, now as far as V is concerned, that is equal to Q upon C. So we can write it here. It is Q upon C, and that is equals to E. Or from here you can write Q is equal to C into E, where E is E naught sine omega t, from equation number 1. So now we have the expression for charge. If we have expression for charge, we can find the current, and we can very easily write that current is equals to, I don't want this now, I think you must have drawn it. So current is equal to rate of flow of charges. So we can write it like this, dq by dt, and then we can write it as dq by dt. So CE naught is actually constant, and if you differentiate it, it is d by dt of sine omega t, d by dt of sine omega t. This is the current. Now you know this, it is CE naught. Differential of sine omega t with respect to t would be cos omega t, but because it was not t, it was omega, so that's why it was omega t, so that's why we have to multiply by coefficient of omega, coefficient of t, that is omega. That's why we can write it as CE naught omega cos omega t. Now this is the current, okay, and this we can write as I is equal to E naught upon 1 upon omega c. This omega and c we can write it like this, 1 upon omega c, and cos omega t, cos omega t. Now you have to understand this, that here this 1 upon omega c, we assume this 1 upon omega c, or I can write it like this, 1 upon omega c as xc, and this is called capacitive reactance. What it is called? Capacitive reactance, capacitive reactance. Okay, and it is denoted by xc. So xc is equals to 1 upon omega c, and also E naught upon xc is equal to I naught. E naught upon xc is equal to I naught. So here you can write I is equal to I naught cos omega t, cos omega t, and because we have the expression for E, you all always know expression for E is E equals to E naught sine omega t. So this expression you always know. So we need to convert this cos into sine, and no constraint of minus is there. So I can write it very easily as I equals to I naught sine 90 plus theta. Okay, sine 90 plus theta would be cos theta. So we can write it as pi by omega t plus pi by 2. You see, this is equation number 1. Okay, and EMF is sine omega t. Okay, in terms of sine omega t. And here you can see this is equation number 2, and current is omega t plus pi by 2. So it is obvious that the EMF and current, they are having a phase difference of pi by 2, and actually the current is leading the EMF by pi by 2. Current is leading the EMF by pi by 2. Okay, so let us try to plot this, how the current leads the EMF by pi by 2. Okay, so for this what we are going to do is we are going to write both the equations first as we did last time. Okay, so here we have E is equal to E naught sine omega t, and I is equal to I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. Okay, now let us plot it. As it is mentioned here that EMF is leading the current. EMF is leading the current, so let it be E. It is E and I, both we are plotting here. EMF is the simple one, it is the sine curve, so we will be plotting this first. E is like this. Okay, now let us discuss the this is the EMF, and you know that the maximum value of EMF is given by E naught, and here on this axis we have omega t. Okay, then the current, so it is given that current is omega t plus pi by 2. It means it is leading the EMF by angle pi by 2. What does it mean? That the values which EMF is getting here, the current is getting values which EMF will get after pi by 2 angle. That is, see, if we are talking about this particular time, so value of EMF is 0. But after pi by 2 angle, value of EMF is maximum. Actually, the current will get, at this point, value of current would be maximum here, because EMF is getting maximum value after pi by 2 angle. So that's why this is the maximum value, this is the maximum value, then it decreases like this. So you can see here also that when the after angle pi by 2, the value of EMF is 0, and that value current is getting here, and this value is actually I naught. Okay, this is actually I naught. Now it is decreasing, and then it becomes minimum here, then again it increases, becomes 0 somewhere here where EMF is having the maximum value, maximum value in opposite direction, and finally it goes like this. So this is how the current, it varies when only a capacitor is connected. So current is actually leading the EMF by pi by 2 angle. Okay, as far as phasor diagram is concerned, for phasor diagram, you see, this is what we have. EMF is, if it is somewhere here, this is the EMF. Okay, this is the EMF, and it is E naught. This is E, and its maximum value is E naught. Okay, and if you try to understand this, it is given that current is leading. If current is leading by pi by 2, so current would be on this side, and it is given like this. Okay, it is given like this. Now this is I, and this is the value I naught. Okay, and this angle is 90 degree, that is pi by 2. Okay, so this is how we can explain it by the phasor diagram. This is the phasor, by phasor diagram, and we discuss how it is going to vary graphically also. So this is what basically the behavior of capacitor when an alternating EMF is connected across the ends of the capacitor. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Now a few things related with these circuits only. One very important question comes that why does capacitor blocks DC? Why does capacitor blocks DC? Suppose that a constant DC is flowing through a circuit. So when the capacitor is fully charged, then what happens that we know this Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c, that just now we derived it. and we also know this that omega is equal to 2 pi nu. Omega is equal to 2 pi nu. Now for a constant DC, you know this thing that nu is actually 0. Nu is actually 0. So you can write it as x equals to 1 upon 2 pi nu c, and because nu is 0, so this implies xc, it tends to infinity. What does it mean? For a constant DC, what happens that the capacitive reactance value, it becomes infinite, and because it becomes infinite, that's why it blocks the DC. So that's why the capacitor blocks DC. One more question generally, I hope you have written this. One more question generally asked is that why the inductor behaves as a ideal conductor in a DC circuit. So why inductor is an ideal conductor? So inductor, when you are doing the expression for inductive reactance, we derived it that XL is equal to omega L. When we did this, you know this that omega is equal to 2 pi nu, right? As far as DC is concerned, direct current is concerned, for this nu is equal to 0. When nu is equals to 0, then it is obvious that omega is equals to 0, and you can write it as 2 pi nu L, and because nu is 0, so that's why XL is also 0. What does it mean? It means that for constant DC, you can see that the inductive reactance is actually 0, and if it is 0, it means that the for a constant DC, the inductor will behave as an ideal conductor. Okay, now we can also discuss about the combinations of R, L and C. So let us try to understand this. Suppose that AC circuit containing R and say L. If AC circuit is containing R and L, so we can draw the AC circuit like this. Here we have R and then we have L, like this, L, and here we have alternating EMF. Now as far as their behavior is concerned, you know this thing that the voltage and current both are in the same phase as far as the resistance is concerned. But as far as the inductor is concerned, the voltage, it leads the current by, this is the voltage across the inductor and this is the current. So voltage across the inductor is it leads the current by angle pi by 2. So this is what we have for R and L individually. Now if we draw the phasor diagram for this, so we can draw it like this. Here we have VL, this is the voltage across the inductor. Then here we have the current I, and voltage across the resistance is actually in this direction only, that is VR. Okay, so if we complete this, then we can see that this is how the quadrilateral is completed or parallelogram is completed, and here this is what the resultant is. This is the angle pi by 2 and this resultant is say V. So this is VL, so this has to be VL, and this is VR, this is VR. Okay, you can write it as VR. So this angle is say phi. Okay, so you can see here very easily that the resultant V is given by under the root of V square R plus V square L. Correct. So as far as VR is concerned, VR is equal to I naught times R, and VL is equal to I naught times XL. Excuse me. And V is the resultant, and it can be given by I naught Z, where Z is called impedance, and impedance is actually the resistance of the combination of R and L. So these values, if we substitute here, this will give you I naught Z is equal to under the root of I naught square R square plus I naught square XL square. Now I naught square is taken common, so it will be I naught when come out of the square root, and I naught will cancel, so we will be getting Z is equal to under the root of R square plus XL square. Okay, you understood this now? I naught square is common and out of the square root, so it will be I naught only. Okay, and then I naught will be cancelled. So Z is equals to under root R square plus XL square, in which we can substitute value of XL, so that will give you under the root R square plus omega square L square. So this is the expression for the impedance, and this is what the expression for impedance here. Okay. If you want to find this phase angle phi here, you can find as cos phi is equal to VR upon V, where VR is the base and V is the hypotenuse. So VR can be written as I naught times R divided by I naught times Z. I naught cancelled, so cos phi equals to R by Z, and that can be written as we know Z is just now we wrote it, so cos phi is equals to R upon under the root R square plus XL square, R square plus XL square. So this is how you can write cos phi. Okay. Next is when there is combination of okay, one more thing, as you know here that the resultant V is leading by angle phi. You know this, you can write the expression of it. Suppose that current is here. Okay, so V is written as V equals to V naught sine omega t plus phi, because it is leading this current by angle phi. So that's why you can write it as plus phi. Correct. Let us discuss the next circuit in which there is R and C. So when resistance and capacitor are there, then what happens? Let us try to understand. So here we have R, and instead of inductor we have a capacitor here. So this is the capacitor. Now this is C. Now what happens that when the resistance and capacitor is there, let us try to understand the behavior of capacitor in an AC circuit. When the AC circuit is there, AC EMF, you know that alternating EMF is given by E equals to E naught sine omega t. This is equation number 1. Okay, and we know this in case of capacitor that voltage and current, they are in the voltage here is lagging behind the current. So here we have current and the voltage is lagging behind, so it is VC, voltage is lagging behind the current by phi by 2. Okay, so this is how the voltage and current varies in a capacitor. Now when we are talking about the combinations of resistance and capacitor, okay, so if we combine these two combinations, you will be getting that here we have the capacitor, voltage across the capacitor VC. Here we have the voltage across the resistor VR, and the angle between them is 90 degree. This is only the direction of the current also. Now if we complete this and then find the resultant, so this is the resultant, this is V, this is the resultant, and this is 90 degree. Okay, and this angle is phase angle, that is phi. So if we want to find the resultant here, this V, so how can we do that? If this is VC, then this has to be VC, and this angle is 90 degree. So this is we can write it, suppose O, A and B are the triangles, so we can write it as V square is equals to V square R plus V square C. Okay, so V square can be written as I naught Z, because Z is the impedance, I naught Z square. So that will be I naught square Z square equals to I naught square R square plus I naught square X C square. Because because V is the resultant, so that's why it will be I naught Z. VR is actually VR will be I naught times R, and VC would be I naught times XC. Okay, so I naught square is common and cancelled from everywhere. So when we do this, we will be getting this, and if we have to find Z, so we can write it like this, that Z is equal to under the root of R square plus XC. Now Z is equals to under R square plus XC square, and that can be written as Z is equals to under the root R square plus XC is 1 upon omega C, so you can write omega square C square, and that is the expression for the impedance. So this is how the combination of RL and RC they work, they behave when an alternating EMF is connected here. Friends, today we are going to study the LCR circuit in alternating current. In LCR circuit, there is an inductor, capacitor and a resistor connected in series. Now we are trying to find the impedance for this circuit, expression for impedance for this circuit, and also the expression for the resonance frequency. Now in order to do this, first you try to understand here that in an inductor, the voltage and the current, this is the previous knowledge, we know this thing, that in an inductor, the voltage and current, they are at 90 degree phase difference. Voltage leads the current by 90 degree in inductor. In capacitor, current leads the voltage by 90 degree. Then here in resistance, the voltage as well as current both are in the same phase, there is no phase difference at all. Now we have to derive the expression for the impedance, and for that what we are doing, we are going to draw a phasor diagram. When we draw a phasor diagram, we will be utilizing these particular concepts which we learnt earlier. So you know this, that in a phasor diagram, VL is here leading the current, which is somewhere here. Then here we have the voltage across the capacitor, which is given by VC. Okay, and because anything is possible, it is possible that VL is greater than VC, it is also possible that VL is less than VC. Here we are considering that this VL is greater than VC, so definitely what will happen, the resultant of VL and VC will be in this direction, that will be VL minus VC. So we can write this VL minus VC. Okay, so this quantity is VL minus VC, and here this is the voltage across the resistor. As I told you here also, that voltage across the resistor and the current, they both are in the same phase. Now what we can do is we can complete this like this, and then we can take the we can find the resultant of these two. See, this is VL minus VC, so this has to be VL minus VC. This is VR. This angle is 90 degree. Okay, and if it is, then you can find the resultant of these two, and that will give you the resultant, say capital V. So in this triangle, say OAB, in this triangle, in triangle OAB, what you can do is you can find in triangle OAB, you can find OA square is equals to OB square plus AB square, and that will give you OA square is B square is equals to VR square plus VL minus VC whole square. Now this V voltage is equals to current into resistance. Now here, because V stands for the resultant voltage, so that's why it stands for the entire circuit, and that's why here we can write V is equals to I naught times Z, where I naught is the peak value of the current and Z is called the impedance. Okay, now here you have VR, which you can write as I naught R, and its square is also there, so it is I naught square. Next is VL minus VC, so for that you can write I naught XL minus I naught XC. You know this that these are the values related with VL and VC. We know that VL can be written as I naught XL and VC can be written as I naught XC, where XL and XC are called the inductive reactance and XC is called the capacitive reactance. And also we know that XL is equal to omega times L and XC is equal to 1 upon omega C. So what we can do is you can write here I naught Z is equals to I naught, here square is also there, so, and also this side also square was there because you had to take OA square, that is V square, so square was there. Here also it can be written as I naught square Z square is equals to I naught square R square plus I naught, we can take common and it will be I naught square, and then we can write XL minus XC whole square. Then you can take I naught square common and that I naught square can be cancelled, so this I naught square is taken common, so what is left is Z square is equal to R square plus XL minus XC whole square, or you can write it as Z is equals to under the root R square plus XL minus XC whole square. Now you can substitute values of XL and XC. XL equals to omega L and XC equals to omega C. If you write, you can write it like this. XL minus XC square. See, if you want the current to be maximum, see how will you write the current? It will be I naught is equals to V upon Z. If you want that this current is maximum, so for that this Z, which is the quantity in denominator, should be minimum. So for current to be maximum, Z should be minimum, and for Z to be minimum, minimum, you see the simplest way is, because once R is taken it can't be 0, so this term should be 0, and this implies XL minus XC should be equal to 0. If XL minus XC is equals to 0, then what you can write is you can write as XL minus XC is 0. This implies XL is equal to XC. And if XL is equals to XC, just now I wrote the values for XL and XC. XL is equals to omega L and XC is equals to 1 upon omega C. Now you can multiply this here, so that will give you omega square is equals to 1 upon LC. So this can be written as omega is equals to 1 upon under the root LC. Now if we can write it like this, you see that if XL is equal to XC, and for that it is coming omega to 1 upon root LC, which can be written as omega R. Okay, and omega R, we know that omega is equals to 2 pi nu. Omega equal to 2 pi by capital T, 1 upon capital T is nu. So it is omega R and that is 2 pi nu R. And now we can write it here, so it is 2 pi nu R is equal to 1 upon root LC, or you can write nu R is equal to 1 upon 2 pi root LC. 1 upon 2 pi root LC. So this is the expression for resonance frequency. When resonance frequency is achieved, in that case XL is equals to XC, and when XL is equals to XC, in that case Z is equal to capital R, because the expression for Z was under the root R square plus XL minus XC whole square. Now if they are equal, so Z is equals to capital R, and if Z is equals to capital R, so the current I0 would be maximum. So this is what the series LCR circuit and the expression for the resonance frequencies. Thank you.